Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics, that's known classics. This is episode number 2244, Doubleshot 2138. Fantastic Four and Thor, two Stanley characters, well, since the series he started. First up we have is Fantastic Four by Mark Waid and Mike Windigo, Volume 2. This collects basically issues 67 to 70 of Fantastic Four Volume 3, and 500 to... It's 500 to 502. That's basically as far as I got with it. Now, in these issues in particular, we have the return of Doctor Doom. Well, he's got a brand new mask now. See, it's basically the whole issue is built to a new battle with him, where him and Valeria, his old girlfriend when he was younger, then she died. And of course, he's practicing magic. Yeah, basically, it's like the whole point of these issues here is build a 500. So then he kills the sorcerers teaching magic, and we see debut a new armor made of leather, not metal, leather. He will only sport this for this particular story arc. Yeah, and I'll get to basically. So then we come to Unthinkable. We have more hijinks with the Fantastic Four. Rearrangers battling stuff with Negative Zone. More fun stuff here. Yeah, then Doctor Doom were the ones to take out the Fantastic Four for reasons. And via Valeria, the girl he basically named. And the thing is, that was part of an arrangement that he had with Susan Richards in exchange for his help helping her give birth. That he named baby, which he named her Valeria, which Bree was not happy with that, but he accepted the name. No problem. Yeah, and of course, she's like, he's a dada, mama or dada, and she says Doom. Because Doctor Doom was attacking him. Yep. And will lead directly into the events of Fantastic Four 500. Yep, and they have to... Yeah, basically the whole point of this is basically Doctor Doom wants the Fantastic Four to hell. Yep. And then we lead directly into 5, which kind of concludes the story in a bit. And of course, he brings about the mindless ones. Think about the mindless ones. I mean, weren't these creatures from the pages of Doctor Strange? Well, he has access to Doctor Strange. Of course, basically, he can stop because he uses magic now. Yes, Doctor Doom uses magic, but he's not going to harm... He's basically protecting Valeria. I mean, he's not going to harm her. He'll harm Reed Richards, no problem, or any other Fantastic Four, but he would never harm this baby. Nope. Because indirectly, this baby is his goddaughter. He would never... Well, he thinks of her as sort of like basically a surrogate daughter. They're not related, but he does not think of her as his own personal daughter per se. He does not think that at all. He knows that Reed Richards, the man he hates, is the father, and Susan is the mother. He has no issue with that. He never harm her because she's named after his lost love, and that's the only reason why he's protecting her. And then we have him basically where he locked Richards in not a dungeon, but a library. But it's not due to magic. Oh, it's not science stuff. Nope, it's magic. So then basically can't understand any of this. And then we leave the 500. It's like, okay, so can't understand this. So he looks around. All of a sudden, Doctor Strange is here. Yes, Doctor Strange. A character who, fun fact, Mark Waid would actually write a solo book about a decade after this. I'm not kidding about that. He actually would write this character. Yeah, I think it was in 2019, he wrote the book. Yeah, they were launched after Donny Coates left the book. Yeah, after Donny Cates left, he took over the writing of the book. Now this book, this issue came out in 2002. Yeah, and I believe the Wade run for Doctor Strange started in 2018. So about 16 years after he wrote him in this very story, he would write a solo book years later. Mm-hmm. And you're thinking, really? Oh yeah, really. And that's quite cool. The fact he would actually write the character. Um, yeah, he actually would end his run after just a brief 6 issues due to COVID stuff. Yeah, 6 was his last issue, and then the book got canceled. Yep. Yeah. So. Yeah, I think this been one. I think this was the first time he wrote Doctor Strange. I remember. So yeah, teaches him a little magic, and then he bows Doctor Doom. And so during the course of all this, thanks to working with him, and of course basically like fighting him, and then the issue ends with Doctor Doom being sent to hell. Also, Reed's face is deformed. Like, I mean, he's sorry. Thinks he was lying. Misery, and of course, he's sent to hell. And he's not seen again for 4 years. I'm not kidding about that. He shows up 4 years later as a. Get this. This, you might find this hilarious, the fact when it comes to the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom. Actually, it wasn't 4 years later, sorry, but he actually came back like not long after this, like roughly about 7 issues later. Yeah, but you could definitely say that he briefly came back, but you didn't make a proper return until 2006 as a lead into Civil War One. So yeah, with the exception of like a brief return, but that was his full time return. So yeah, Reed's deformed, and he's like this for like a year. Mm-hmm. Then you have two-parter Fifth Wheel, where despite him being deformed, thanks to Doctor Doom, it's all about recovering from the events of 500. The backswing's been damaged and mostly put. Yeah, that's mostly what it is. And we have Ben kind of being dead, but then he's brought back at the end of these 2 issues. He was with it because he has got like bumps on him. Franco has to act like out of character. He's swearing because asking him to leave because he's not exactly himself. And of course, basically, like, get away from me. Yeah. Of course, Jack still thinks he's still in. Of course, he still thinks he's in hell. And then Reed does something quite dumb. He goes back in time to try to kill Doctor Doom before he became Doctor Doom, but he fails. And then we eventually like. Then apparently they apparently heard the shot fire. But the reason why he fired was because they get their hands on a sample Doctor Doom's hair. And he goes basically experimenting again, and I think they're slowly back. I do appreciate Wade doing this, basically, to have a 2-part, basically, epilogue to 500. But what this trade is, it's really good. And with that also, Volume 3 is done. Yeah, it is 100% completely done. Excuse me. Even though I'm not done reviewing Mark Wade's one, it is very interesting now. I have reviewed Volume 3 now. Yeah, that is all done. Basically, I have 2 more trades left to go for this run. And then I'm done with this run for Fantastic Four. And with that point, once I get to like Volume 4, I would definitely say I got far back as like 1985 to present. Because this is one of those titles where I still need to work on the issues that came out for review-wise that came out in the 2000s. Like, the only ones I could think of that's like that are publishing right now is Wolverine, Thor, Iron Man, and I could say Captain America Kenny X, but those 2 as far back as like about 2002, 2003, but basically the period I started reading comics. So just these 3, just Wolverine. As of right now, it's just basically Wolverine, Fantastic Four, Thor, and Iron Man. And you're thinking, that's it? Yeah, that's it. It's the only ones I can think of I have left to go. Because most everything else that came out in that period of time, I've already covered. I have not covered X-Force yet, basically. The miniseries came out in 2000. I haven't covered that yet, but I'll cover it soon. Next up we have is The Mighty Thor Epic Collection Volume 7, called Ulik Unchained. This book collects issues 217 to 241 of the Thor comic book. I love Marvel 26. The reason Marvel 26 is here, because it's a Hercules solo story. I believe this was his very first solo story I ever actually had, because at this point in time, he was mostly just a recurring character in the pages of Thor. And of course, also appearing in the pages of Avengers period of time. Now, what is Thor doing these issues? Well, excuse me, he just battles like various sorcerers. He battles a guy called Egan, which this was his first appearance since issue 179. Yeah. So most of the play just had 217 be a standalone issue. And then you have like 218, another standalone issue, face up against the Virgilian mutants. Yeah, he's gone back to Virgilia. Mm-hmm. Then he fights up against the Master of the Black Stars. The Ruhans, basically, who appearance-wise look like Namor. Falls for a guy called the Protector. Only appeared one other time, and a guy named Krogan. He appeared for 2 issues, and that was it for him. And then you have basically, well, Thor versus Ares for the next 2 issues. Yep. You might be thinking, is there a debut in these issues? Oh, yes, we'll get to it. They have Thor versus Destroyer Armor. Yeah, and then basically in issue 225, yes, 225, we have debut of this character. Who is it? Firelord. A guy who was a Herald of Galactus. Yes, this is his debut in this very comic book. And if you're curious though, is Firelord still around? Yes. Yes, he is. He's still very much around. His most recent appearance was actually an issue of the final issue of Dan Slott's run for Fantastic Four. But that was his most recent appearance to date for him. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and also of course Galactus shows up in this issue. Yes, Galactus. And there's a reason why. So we have this drummer, and of course fighting, of course, well, Firelord. Think of Firelord. Galactus shows up here, and of course Thor asks, basically asks for help to do one thing and one thing only. And what is it? Take on Ego the Living Planet. Yes. Thor. He wants Thor to help take on Ego the Living Planet. And of course, his father's upset the fact he teams with the World Devourer. Also, for some reason, Ego is lost his beard. Yeah, for some reason, he lost his beard. And then we kind of wrap this up with 228. Yep, 228 is kind of in the way the wrap up of this story arc. Yeah, but he's not the only. Basically, and then right after they defeat Ego, this time, anyways, and then they debut Dweller in Darkness. Excuse me, who actually made his first live action appearance in the movie Shang-Chi, and that's kind of him. That's what he looks like here. That's Dweller in Darkness. Yep. Basically, that was his first appearance. And he appears for the next several issues. He appears for those two issues in particular. Then he does return and goes to the issue of Doctor Strange. Then in issue 231, fights someone called Amok the First Man. Some raging caveman. Has a fight with Loki in 232. And continues in 233, 4. And then he has another fight with the Absorbent and someone called Camel Thorn, the Professor. And he himself, basically 235 is his debut. He will only fight Thor. Next time fight Thor won't be until 334. When Walt Simon's in the book. Yep. Still fighting Zorman with 236. And then he fights Ulik, one of the rock trolls. Yeah. This is his first appearance since he appeared in 217. He's here until 239 and skips the next 2 years. His return to 252. And after the rock trolls, then we have the first appearance of Seth. Yes, the Egyptian god of death. Yeah, Thor versus Egyptians. Okay. And 241 basically deals more Egyptian stuff. Yeah, kind of an odd set of issues. I mean, obviously the best issue is probably when he meets Firelord and teams with Galactus and Ego. This book is still really good. I'm going to give the book roughly I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Okay, so that's a particular view. I have one more comic corner to do, and then I'll be on to One Piece. Okay, next video. Bye.